I'm going to go over a few problems from the Unit 4 Worksheet 2, starting with number 4. We're asked to multiply or divide the following and then simplify the results. I'm also going to consider excluded values. It's not in the instructions, but it's important to continue to think about, because whenever you're working with fractions, you cannot divide by 0. Okay. So in number 4, we have a division problem, and we can rewrite this as a multiplication problem that will give us the same answer, or simplify to the same value. The first fraction stays put, so 2a squared b over 3bc times, and we're going to flip this fraction over, or multiply by the reciprocal, which is 16ad squared over 9b squared c. And now with multiplication, the rules with fractions is you can multiply straight across, so we can make this one big fraction. This is 2 times 16 times a to the third times b times d squared over 3 times 9 b to the third c squared. So, and then we try to reduce, looking at the 2, 16, 3, and 9. 2 and 16 are powers of 2, 3 and 9 are powers of 3. They don't have any number in common other than 1, and so I'm just going to multiply 2 times 16 to simplify this, which is 32, and 3 times 9, which is 27. A to the third is the only a in this problem, so leave that a to the third. Now we have a b over b cubed, so I can divide both those by b. B divided by b is 1, b cubed divided by b is b squared. There's only a c squared in the denominator, there's only a d squared in the numerator, and there we have it. For excluded values, if we look at the very original problem, b can't be 0, c can't be 0 for the first fraction. The second fraction, a can't be 0, and d can't be 0, or d squared can't be 0, which means d can't be 0. And then we also, if you look at the next stage, 9b squared is also a denominator, so b can't be 0, c can't be 0, but we already said that, and so those are your excluded values. Number 8, the multiplication problem, and we need to factor in order to get to simplification. And so this first part here, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 12 and add to negative 8. So if you think of your multiples of 12, 6 and 2, add to 8, and we need them both to be negative, so this factors to x minus 6 times x minus 2. X squared minus 16 is a difference of two squares, so factors to x plus 4 times x minus 4. On the top right hand side, we can factor out a 4 and get x plus 4. And we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 4 and add to negative 4. So we get x minus 2, x minus 2. So this becomes x minus 6 times x minus 2 times 4 times x plus 4 over x plus 4 times x minus 4 times x minus 2 times x minus 2. And when we're looking at what to divide, we could divide top and bottom by x minus 2 and an x plus 4. And after we do that, we end up with four times x minus 6 over x minus 4 times x minus 2. And that's as simplified as we can get this fraction. And if we go back to right before we divided, we can see our excluded values. X can't be negative 4. X cannot be 4. And x cannot be 2. Take a look at number 10. 10 is written in this form, but it means the same thing as x squared plus 6x over 6x squared plus 15x divided by x squared minus 36 over 2x squared plus 7x plus 5. So both forms mean the same thing, and so it's just important to realize that. And we can turn our division problem into into a multiplication problem by leaving the first fraction as is, changing it to multiplication and multiplying by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So 2x squared plus 7x plus 5 becomes the numerator, and x squared minus 36 becomes the denominator. And we need to factor each piece. So the x squared plus 6x is x times x plus 6. The 6x squared plus 15x, you can divide out as a 3x. So 3 times x times 2x plus 5. The x squared minus 36 is x plus 6 times x minus 6. And lastly, the top part here, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 10 and add to 7, 2 times 5, so we split it up to 2x squared plus 5x plus 2x plus 5. And I could factor out of the first two terms an x, and I get 2x plus 5 plus 1 times 2x plus 5, and then factor out the 2x plus 5, and you're left with x plus 1. So 2x plus 5 times x plus 1. And then look at, we can divide top and bottom by x, we can divide top and bottom by 2x plus 5, we could divide top and bottom by x plus 6. After doing that, we end up with x plus 1 in the numerator and 3 times x minus 6 in the denominator. For excluded values, there's 3 denominators we're worried about. We don't want these 3 to equal 0. And those come with factors. The first one in green factored to 3x times 2x plus 5, so we don't want x to be 0. We don't want 2x plus 5 to be 0. The second one factored to over here 2x plus 5 and x plus 1. We already got the 2x plus 5, but the x plus 1, we don't want that to be 0. And then the x squared minus 36 factored to the x plus 6 and x minus 6, so we don't want either of those to be 0 as well. So x can't be 0. Solve here. X can't be negative 5 over 2. X can't be negative 1. X can't be negative 6. And lastly, x cannot equal positive 6. And we'll stop there.